Top 10 essay topics about child abuse. Physical child abuse. In an essay concerning physical child abuse, you can start by discussing its various forms and manifestations. It is important to focus on the detrimental effects that this has on the child's development, as well as their physical and emotional well-being. You could conclude your paper by mentioning preventative measures and the significance of reporting suspected childhood abuse cases. Child abuse and neglect of children in court. Another take on the topic of childhood abuse could concern children in the judicial system, specifically within the context of court hearings. In this case, you can write about the treatment of child victims within the legal setting, the challenges they face, and suggest some improvements to the system. Child abuse, a case for imposing harsher punishments on child abusers. This type of essay is an argumentative one, where you could be advocating for the need of harsher punishments for child abusers. Your reasoning should be supported with solid evidence, such as statistics on the damaging effects of abuse on children and possibility of future prevention. Abuse in childhood and alcohol addiction. In this particular research paper, your aim could be to examine the relationship between childhood abuse and the development of alcohol addiction later in adulthood. You should concentrate on the long-term emotional and psychological effects of abuse on individuals. Additionally, you could mention the importance of support systems and early interventions in these cases. Introducing improvements to children abuse reporting system. An essay focusing on this topic should explore the current childhood abuse reporting system in the chosen country. Then, you could propose several improvements to the system with evidence that enhance its effectiveness. These could involve things such as the implementation of technology, increased awareness and education, etc. Biological underpinnings behind child abuse. In this paper, you will be tasked to consider the biological factors that could be contributing to the phenomenon of child abuse. You could delve into genetics and neurobiology. You can also evaluate how these factors interact with environmental and sociological influences. Effects of child abuse and neglect. When writing about the effects of childhood neglect and abuse, you should consider both the short-term and long-term consequences. You can write about emotional, psychological, physical, and cognitive development of the individual. Additionally, you can examine the impact of abuse on a person's relationships, mental health, and other areas of their life. The prevention of child abuse. An essay on the topic of prevention of child abuse should consider what strategies are already in place and their effectiveness. Then, you could write about the importance of awareness, education, the availability of support systems, and the efficiency of parenting programs. Finally, consider the role of legislation and policies in the prevention of childhood abuse. Child abuse as a result of insufficient policies. This argumentative essay will pose that the prevalence of childhood abuse is a direct result of insufficient preventative and intervening policies. If you are writing on this topic, you would have to consider the gaps in the current legislature and the potential ways to improve the system. Cognitive behavioral therapy for PTSD in adult survivors of childhood abuse. This research topic will be suitable for those students studying psychology or sociology. You could write about the effectiveness of CBT in adult childhood abuse survivors. The key points to mention in your essay will be the definition and key principles of CBT, how efficient it is in treating PTSD, potential limitations of the process, etc.